Guys, this is part of our harvest that we got this season. This is what we were growing them in.
This is the grow bag. Little baby.
Got a few babies there.
Getting crazy.
So these are sweet potatoes, by the way.
This is just some more. We only put one in the ground.
Isn't that crazy though? I told y'all in my last video, in my last little book haul, that I'll probably buy a few books, and I have bought the two that I was talking about. Here I have The Picture of Dorian Gray. Then I also got Dracula by Bram Stoker. Other than that, I'm going to give you a little reading wrap-up of the stuff that I've read in the month of October so far. Everything that I read this month slapped. Oh my god. We'll go in order of when I read them. The first thing I read this month was The Undertaking of Hart and Mercy by Bannen. This was so good. I had such a fun time out reading this. When I picked it up, I really just wanted something kind of fantastical and full of romance, but also just like palate cleansing. Because I wanted like just something light and fluffy and something that I could just breeze through. I literally read this in a few days, which is fast for me, and I really enjoyed it. It was very autumnal. This follows Mercy, who is a undertaker, so pretty much her whole job is to wrap dead bodies, like almost like a mortician, right? Almost like that. She runs this family business where that's literally what they all do, but she's the only one in the family currently that's actually taking it seriously. And she also like raised her siblings, so she really doesn't have a life outside of her family, and it's almost making her so lonely. And then Hart is a marshal, and marshals in this world pretty much patrol the magical lands that they live in. They patrol them and protect them from these deformed, dangerous creatures. It's fun though. I thought it was not about to be a happy ending for a second, but they end up writing letters to each other on accident. Hart just writes this letter addressed to a friend, and the letter ends up being sent to Mercy. Mercy writes back, so they're secret pen pals. They don't know that they're each other's pen pal. The story really kicks off from there. I'm not going to say much more because I think anything else would be in spoiler territory, but so good, so fun, just cute. Like, I just had a good time. Then I read two graphic novels. I read these, like, one before the next book that I'm going to talk about and one after, but I'm just going to talk about them both, and it's The Garlic and the Vampire series by Bree Paulsen. This book literally felt like watching a nostalgic cartoon. It follows these like talking vegetable people, like I guess they're humanoids. They are slowly turning into humans, and one day they see this castle that's been abandoned for years has some activity going on, like they see smoke coming out the chimney and stuff like that. And they decide that Garlic should be the one to go confront whoever is there, because they predict that a vampire has made his way to the castle. And so they decide that Garlic needs to go up there and see and make sure they're not here to harm the community and stuff like that. Garlic goes, and it ends up being this wholesome, cute vampire. And it's just such a good story. All of the characters are really just gardeners, like that's their job. And they live in this small village where they have a market every week. There's a cute little witch who's like really sweet and wholesome. Obviously the vampire is cute and wholesome. It doesn't get gory or graphic. It literally felt like watching Sesame Street or Daniel Tiger. It was so good. And I just love the cast of characters. It was a very quick read. It made me very sappy and annoying, but I just had a wonderful time reading it. And I would highly recommend it, especially for the fall, y'all. Like, this was the fall graphic novel book. Read that, absolutely loved it. Then I read The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Deesha Philyaw. This one is a short story collection, and this has been recommended by so many bookstagrammers and booktubers that I love, specifically Bookworm Nye on Instagram and Noelle Gallagher on YouTube. It's a book about the secret lives of church ladies. Don't look over there. It's 9 different stories in here. My favorite stories were Eula, Peach Cobbler, and How to Make Love to a Physicist. Eula is, I guess, a story about 2 queer women. One that's grappling with her identity of being a queer woman and grappling with her sexuality. The other one is kind of avoiding it. Like, she's like, I'm still looking for my husband. Like, she is trying to force herself to just be straight. It also like ties into how religion has like forced her mindset, how being a Christian and being in the church has really impacted her mindset about sexuality and being a good person. Like, throughout the whole story, she'll be like, no, I'm a good girl. And it's like, you can be good and queer, queen. What do you what do you mean? I think my favorite story, if I had to stake a favorite, was How to Make Love to a Physicist. I liked how after reading Peach Cobbler, there was other stories that referenced Peach Cobbler. There was like foreshadowing to the other stories. And Peach Cobbler was just, I guess, a study on the toxic mother-daughter relationships that end up happening quite often, and just the weird stuff that, like, the kind of bad things that go on in the church where it's like adultery. If I had to stake a favorite, it would be How to Make Love to a Physicist. That one just touched so much on how trauma impacts relationships. The girl in that story is like going to a therapist and self-sabotaging a romantic relationship while going to this therapist and everything. Real. And also, this book just had a lot of quotes that I feel like they're things that all Christians end up thinking at some point. It just put words to the uncomfortable thoughts that you have as a Christian. That's really everything that I read in the month of October so far. Like I said, great reading month. The fall vibes are kicking in. We're finally getting a breeze where I live. I'm probably going to sit outside today.